If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
So at the very starting, I will come back to these slides before I move on to the slides. I just wanted to give you an overview from the perspective of what is the reporting today. As we use enterprise HANA today, there is something called overall, if we talk about any organization, like say for example ABC Limited, when they are going for or any projects like where we need to do analytics implementations, what are the options that we have, and wherein HANA fits in there, and what are the competitors with SAP we have. So I will start with that to give you an understanding of overall gamut of the reporting solution in SAP as well as non-SAP world, so that the product fitment, fitment of the product or fitment of choice is also an important piece for any organization. Suppose tomorrow you are moving to a new organization as somebody who is managing the complete technology part of that, right? There you need to really know, right, wherein HANA fits in and why HANA is better than anyone else in the market, and where is the SAP's footprint. So I'll quickly share my I have shared my screen already. If you are able to see, just let me know.
I can see it.
Okay. So I'll just open the Excel and just wanted to let you first understand you. So reporting wise, like whenever we come to the analytics world, there are definitely reporting needs, and why these reportings are required from the perspective of any organization to understand their key performance, and understand where is the improvement and where is the decision can be taken. So it is more because this is required because of more informed decision rather than taking a wild guess. So when it comes to the reporting need, so first reporting, if you talk about reporting here at the very top level, there could be two types of reporting needs in any organization, which is something one called is operational reporting need, which is okay, which is basically for an organization to run their operational processes or day-to-day activity. There are some decisions that they are going to take every day, and there are something called on the other side management reporting. Okay, so this is where exactly like our reporting needs comes through. Okay, now in case of operational reporting, how do we achieve that, and in case of management reporting, how do we achieve that? We'll come to that. So in case of operational reporting, what happens, like as the name suggests, it's a day-to-day activity where you will take a lot of day-to-day like decisions, like say for example an accountant taking a decisions on the finance process, or a purchase officer taking a decision regarding the purchasing, or a salesperson is taking a sales decision, like how to move the product, where to move the product, where from we get where is the inventory and all those things. So those kind of operational reports are basically in the SAP world is made through something called S4 HANA. Even before that, I would like to tell you, in SAP world there is two things. Like one is, I'll come here, I'll show it to you here. So one is called WLTP system and one is called OLAP system.
So I will not cut you short, but these are things that I don't have any problems with them. I understand very well. So
yeah. So OLTP and OLAP is basically only thing that I wanted to mention. Earlier than in the OLTP world, earlier than few years, there was something called ECC, Enterprise Core Component for SAP. Okay.
Yeah.
Right now it has been upgraded to something called S4 HANA. Okay. So as of today, if you talk about what is the WLTP system that SAP is recommending to use, is nothing but S4 HANA. So now S4 HANA becomes our source system for in the SAP world. If we are using SAP landscape throughout my organization, S4 HANA would be there as my source system. Now all the reporting that we do in S4 HANA box itself, which is basically your like operational report that are like that is called operational reports, and we do it in the S4 HANA box itself, and we achieve this through something called CDS views. Okay. We write CDS views, and on top of that we have Fiori components which will be showing you the report. Apart from Fiori, we can also use analysis for Office. We can also use SAC for my visualization tool as a visualization tool. Okay. So this is my operational side. So suppose say for example, I wanted to see like what is my last 10 purchase orders and what is their volume and what is the quantity, what is the amount on which you have done that. We have raised the purchase order. So you can quickly create a report on top of this, and you can create a CDS view, and you can just tag it to a Fiori or IO or a SSC. So that's how it can be. On the other side, on the management reporting, there are many specifically two important tools that comes into that picture. One is called BW4 HANA, okay, and another is called HANA. Okay. Now when it is BW4 HANA, it is completely a data warehousing system, and as the name suggests here, if you see BW4 HANA, so that means a HANA component is always there with BW. So earlier BW used to be a standalone piece where it can run on any database, say for example Oracle or DB2, but with the advent of HANA database, it comes like where BW4 HANA is only meant for HANA database. So BW4 HANA cannot run on Oracle or DB2. There is something you will also hear about, which is called BW on HANA. Okay. The difference between BW4 HANA and BW on HANA is very simple. BW on HANA is basically so if I talk about BW, it has gone through its own cycle of changes for last 20 years. Initially evolution, yes. First it was 7.2, then 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, then BW on HANA, then BW4 HANA. On HANA is something like which is capable of running on HANA database, but it is also capable of running on any other database. So that doesn't necessarily make the fact that it has to run on the HANA database always. But BW4 HANA, you always need a HANA database. Okay. So that's the BW4 HANA, and also so with every BW4 HANA there is a HANA DB associated. Okay. Now another thing is there. Another thing is there, that is you call, right, the HANA, the standalone HANA, like where you do not have the BW4 HANA component, but only standalone HANA for reporting purposes. Okay. So that is also possible. So these are the two things. And at the end of the day, the tools for management reporting for visualization or reports to be done is going to be analysis for Office. Okay. As well as SAP Analytics Cloud, as well as your I would say Tableau. Then it could be Power BI. Some of the other tools which are still in the market is called Lumira and things like those. Okay. So this could be our tool for reporting purposes, where for visualization and everything being done. So this is the overall gamut of SAP reporting solution. Now why, and on the other side, if you talk about Oracle and everything, Oracles also have similar thing. In case of S4 HANA, that is called Oracle Fusion. And like in case of BW4 HANA, there is OBIE, Oracle Business Intelligence piece, and all those things. But what in the SAP world, what makes it more prominent is because of the advent of HANA, the performance is very high, and something we call real-time analytics is possible. Now, when I call real-time analytics, what is real-time analytics? So it came with a concept like, if you go to anywhere, I mean to say any organization, and suppose for example tomorrow you go to buy to a grocery shop and try to go a grocery in, say for example, any shop, 7-Eleven shop, say for example. Now before you leave the door in the shop, the store manager will already have your data, that what you have purchased, and he has a report generated for it. That is called real time. The moment you does the transaction, on the same time it is available for reporting. Earlier, before the advent of HANA, it was not that much possible because of the fact we had to load that data from OLTP system to OLAP system separately, and then prepare the data for reports, and then the reports get generated, which is used to take around 6 to 7 hours at a minimum piece, like based on the frequency of load from OLTP to OLAP. But right now, as S4 HANA comes in, because earlier ECC component is not compatible with HANA databases, but when S4 HANA came in, it is compatible with the HANA DB. So now the reporting is also possible on the S4 HANA side, right? And that's where this real-time analytics concept came in, and everyone started saying, okay, if I have a transaction getting processed in my S4 HANA system, why cannot I use the same S4 HANA system to build my operational reports to understand how I am performing for a smaller range of period, if not a greater range like 3 years or 2 years or 9 months or 10 months, but at least 3 months, a quarter, or 4 months, or a maximum probably a half a year, depending on the volume of the data. So that's where the real-time analytics came. The moment transaction get processed, the transaction get processed in the S4 HANA system, and this out of that same system, out of the same table where the transaction are getting processed, in the same table, from the same table we are preparing the report to Fiori. So that's why it is real-time analytics. Like the moment you get to a transaction, immediately that data will be available for your reports. But on the management side, when you go for a BW4 HANA, specifically for BW4 HANA, it will take some time. It is not always real time. It is near real time as of today, because you have to still schedule jobs and all things like that, and you have to wait for certain hours to get that data. But in case of HANA, there is still a possibility of real-time analytics. I'll come to that through something called SLT. I'll come to that. So that is possible. But if that is not, SLT is not used to SLT is not used, then it is also again near real time or close to real time. Okay. Now, what are the reports would be used for here, and what are the reports which are used for here? So for ideally, it's a very $1 million question. Every time you go to a client, or every time you come to a situation when you implement something for the reporting purpose, you will be always asked why I'm going to use BW4 HANA. If my reporting is possible in S4 HANA, why I should bring a different component, which is costlier, which has to be maintained. Either it is in on-premise or it is cloud. So all the solution can be also cloud, apart from on-premise. So I'm telling you from the on-premise perspective, not from the cloud perspective. Cloud is still maturing. It's not 100% like on-premise. And in US specifically, most of the clients are on-premise because they have the capacity of bearing the cost compared to other part of the world. So from that perspective, I'm telling you from the on-premise part. So here, if you talk about what are the reports you should be generating from operational report, which are basically again day-to-day decision maker. And when I said day-to-day decision maker, volume wise also it has a limitations. I mean to say performance limitation. It's not like technical limitations. If you wanted to see a 1 million records per day in these reports, then it is not suggestible to use the operational reporting, because it is better to go for the management reporting, where the data warehouse system or the HANA DB is capable of managing much more volume rather than these CDS views. So that's the crux of the difference that it makes, like in the decision making, where you will be using the CD operational route or you will be using a management route. So these are the two things that very clearly now, having said that, SAP is a very clever organization, and they have to sell their product. So wherever they see that, okay, there is a scope, okay, no, I can do the reporting here as well. Now in the SAP fruit field, things are so much open. Like you can do your architecture, you can do your enterprise architecture, reporting architecture in any system, in any way that you want. So as a result of that, like what happens, you have to be very aware of where exactly what to be used. So operational reporting in S4 HANA box through CDS view is meant for not a huge volume of data. Is meant for less volume of data, where you will be dealing with less volume of data, and you will mainly take the decision for day-to-day life perspective. Okay, that's the thing. If you wanted to deal with large volume of data, if you wanted to deal with data from different source system, not only S4 HANA, say probably you have a legacy system, say for example you have a legacy system, say for Teradata, or you wanted to have something from some other systems thing, then a file or things like that, then it is meant to be used here, where you are basically acquiring the data from different source system and mashing it together to a common format, and delivering it for the reporting side, as well as when you are dealing with more volume of data, where some denormalization is required. Okay, so denormalization in terms of like you do not need to see the line item level data. Say for example, I do not wanted to see the document level data, but more of a higher level data. I wanted to see decision making data, like for executive, like how I am doing per company code or profit center, things like those being shown here, and which is very high level. So that's where the management reporting comes in. Now, any questions if you have?
Yes, so when you say HANA, you mean native. What's the difference between native HANA and HANA?
I'll tell you. So next, if you talk about native HANA, native HANA is nothing but, like it's a sidecut approach for so when you, let me go to the next tab, I'll tell you. So when HANA is there, like native HANA and is something, right, where you are doing your reporting through enterprise modeling. Okay, so you will not be using the BW4 HANA component or any other component. So S4 on S4 HANA.
So native HANA means you don't have any other applications sitting on HANA. It's just HANA.
It's just HANA, but it's at the DB level. It's at the database level.
Okay.
So if you have a S4 HANA component on the same DB level, you can do your native HANA reporting as well. It's a DB level. Now it depends on organization to organization and their cost bearing capacity. Like S4 HANA also run on a HANA database, right? So any S4 HANA applications, like if you see like any EC, instead of ECC, if you're talking about S4 HANA, that is also running on the HANA database. On that database itself, you can build your reports, which is nothing but a native HANA reports.
Okay.
Also what you can do, apart from that, you can have a separate HANA box, native HANA box, which is basically a separate native HANA box, which is not tied with this S4 HANA application. And you can bring the S4 HANA data from this HANA DB to here and build your reports. That is also possible. So these are the two different way. Okay.
Okay.
And how you are bringing the data to from here to here, that could be SLT, that could be SDI, that could be SDA, that could be using
BODS.
boards,
Mm.
BODS, things like that. Okay. So that there are different provisioning methods and all those things that could come in.
Okay,
So
so mostly they use native HANA as a sidecar approach.
sidecar approach,
Mostly.
yes. Mostly, yes. Because they don't wanted to play around with the S4 HANA box, and because if you are going to do a report and a management report on the same HANA box, the like throughput and everything is also have an effect, as well as like you have to really think about like this, the same DB will be used for your transaction processing, and the same DB if you are used for report, it may not always be a best practice from the
Yeah.
perspective of
Yeah,
uh,
I understand that part.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now coming to so I hope that you have understood the management reporting and
Yeah,
operational reporting difference.
I call it operation reporting and analytical reporting. It's still the same
Yes,
as
yes.
management reporting.
Yes, either way, if you can call
Yeah.
it also analytical reporting, no worries.
Mm.
Now these are all on premise. Now SAP also are coming up with something called very new into the market, which is called on the cloud version, which is basically called DWC. Okay, which is called data warehouse in cloud. Okay, in cloud. Now having said that, this HANA piece also can be introduced into cloud, which is called HANA cloud. It also have a BW4 HANA cloud version as well. So everything that you are seeing here is also have a compatible cloud version, but not as mature as the on-premise version.
Okay.
Okay. So where if you are interested in, like data warehouse cloud is the next generation tool that SAP is bringing in, and there is something called data intelligence, but that is not for warehouse purposes, but that is more from the perspective of AI, ML, pipeline, data pipeline, and all those things. From that perspective, they have bringing another tool. So data intelligence. So these are the tools wise. These are the things they are coming up on the reporting side. The major important component would be this one. Okay, and there is something called BobJ, which is basically business objects.
Yeah.
Now business objects has a length of tool whereby it has also like business objects like crystal reports, say for example, things like those. But these are mostly still primitive. Now all focuses came up into analysis for office, for the detailed level reporting, and for our executive dashboards, the SAP Analytics Cloud. And Webby is still used very fondly because of the fact it is used for ad hoc reporting purposes. Okay. Now apart from that, there are a lot even Lumira is there, but Lumira is not that matured, or the Lumira or designer is there, but that not matured. And after certain years of time, SAP is going to deprecate this product as well. Okay, so their footprint going forward is BobJ stays for Webby, Analytics Cloud, and analysis for Office. That's where they are focusing on. And then also the third-party tools like Tableau and Power BI are there, which can also connect to your any of these sources like S4 HANA or BW4 HANA or HANA, native HANA. Okay, so that you can use. So this is my these are my main component when we come to reports from our perspective. So anything that you wanted to discuss now on the DWC piece, the SS is already embedded.
Okay.
SS is already embedded. Okay, and you can when you build the data warehouse in cloud, the default tool that comes for reporting is called SSE.
Okay.
This is how the entire gamut of thought looks like, from the perspective of reporting. So this is the overview of the reporting solution. Now when you as a or me as a, if somebody comes as an architect, like tell me like what would be my ground rule for lot of client comes to me and like my management asking that, okay, I have been running my reports for last 2 years on S4 HANA. Of late, I have said the same, seen that the performance is degrading if as the data has increased. How can I mitigate that? The solution is this. Or somebody who is going to implement something very new, and say that, okay, should I do my reporting in S4 HANA or should I purchase a separate box for BW4 HANA or Sidecar HANA? The answer is depending on what reporting you are doing, and what is the need of the report. If it is a voluminous report, or then you have to go for here. So I know clients who are generating almost 1 billion records in a year. So and if their reporting is not possible here, they have to come here. And then even after coming here, the performance could be very different. Like if you do not optimize the build and optimize the performance thoroughly as much as possible, right? And
so
there are techniques.
those are things that we have to deal, how to optimize views and how.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm going back to the slides quickly. So from the perspective of SAP HANA, now I will take, like, now as part of this course, before even I go to the slide, we'll be not covering BW4 HANA. Will not be covering the S4 HANA side. Will not be covering these tools, but we can touch upon those to understand how it is. But we are covering on the HANA side, HANA piece, right? So, and this HANA piece, like I'll talk through. And when I say HANA piece, if I go to the things, we'll be mostly using the sidecar. We're discussing the sidecar approach, where through the sidecar from the S4 HANA or the ECC system. It could be also through sidecar, I can get the data from any system, like say for example SEC, S4, or any Oracle or anything. So to those from those system, how we get the data and we model, that is what is our focus area for this training.
And how to connect to some of the reporting tools.
Yes, absolutely. How to connect to some of the important tools on the reporting side, as well as on the provisioning, like how can we provision and what are the difference of the provisions and all those things. Yes,
exactly.
Okay. Now coming to the slide, just to cover the slide. So SAP HANA platform. So now when you talk, we only talk about SAP HANA, right? Is it just a database? No. Is it just something that is a tool that it gives you to do this reporting and things like that? Now, if you talk about SAP HANA on an overall basis, SAP HANA is not a database. It's not simple a tool. It is called an appliance. Why it is called an appliance? It has the inherent database, obviously, but it is capable of building tools. It is capable of building applications. It is capable of doing predictive. It is capable of doing AI/ML. It is capable of doing talking to third-party tools like to OData services, to Fiori. It is able to talk to Tableau. It is able to talk to Power BI and so on. So it's a overall appliance. That's why SAP HANA is called an appliance. It's not like not only database. The database has the capacity of in memory, and I'll come to that. What is in memory? In memory is very simple. Earlier days, what is used to happen, right? Every data used to stay in my hard disk. And if you go like so even today, like our traditional PCs, like whatever we have, like a laptop or something, all my data stays in hard drive, right? And whenever I require, say if I'm this slide also, right? This slide, whatever I'm presenting, is staying in my hard drive, and I am just opening it up and bringing the data to my RAM, which is called random access memory, and presenting it to you. So the RAM is basically a communicator between the processing units of a machine, and and the hard drive, right? So in between RAM is setting, which is random access memory. Now the concept with in-memory memory is something different. Like your data which are required for every day, which can be termed as hot data, that will always reside into the RAM rather than in the hard drive. So every time you need those hot data, you really don't need to go from the CPU to RAM to hard drive, but CPU to RAM only. So the concept is like this. So what happens, like you have a CPU which is processing your everyday task, then you have a RAM, and then you have hard drive. Sorry, hard drive. So the communication, and this communication between CPU to RAM to hard drive is bidirectional. Okay, everywhere it is bidirectional. Yeah. So as it is bidirectional, so there is a extra latency used to happen, like when the RAM used to talk to your hard drive. So as a result of that, there is a lot of delay in getting the data. And these hard drives are basically magnetic strips. Okay. Whereas this is electronic strips, like basically chip based, or say for example transistor based component, whereas this is more sophisticated transistor based component. Okay. So now you can see, like, transistor based component is faster in communication rather than the magnetic strip. So there is a huge difference used to happen. So that's why SAP came up with a this concept, the database concept. Why not, instead of keeping my entire data set here, I keep my entire mostly used data sets here, and we take a periodic backup to hard drive. That's the concept. You know, instead of keeping everything here and whatever you need you bring it here and then here, rather than doing that, why don't we keep everything here and bring here as required, because these are faster, communication wise faster, they are bus speed matches, and then we take a periodic backup to the hard drive of the data that way. So this is exactly the technology that is called in memory. So your maximum data resides in the in memory, and with the capacity of the CPUs today in the world, which is basically capable of handling a lot of programs, a lot of instruction in parallel, right? And the memory size can be increased. Like today we have almost 1 TB RAM, right? And like that. So this technology came into picture. So that is where it is called in memory. And in memory has its own capability, other capabilities. I will come to that as well in a minute. So this is why it is called in memory. So your majority of the data resides into the HANA DB, and as a result of that, you are basically communicating to RAM, and you are periodically storing your data back to your magnetic strip, which is there. Okay. Then the last point here is very important: introduction to providing access to the SAP HANA data. So SAP HANA also can provide, that's why it is called appliance. As I said, it is capable of talking to many other systems like Power BI, Tableau, and Fiori and all. Also, it is capable of talking to HTTP applications like Fiori or SAP Analytics Cloud, which are basically cloud applications, and it is capable of talking to them through OData services or its own APIs, through their own APIs, application programming interface. They can talk through to each other. Okay. Now here in this table it is shown like when in memory comes, in memory has its own capability. The database architecture in the in memory is little different, and HANA database is basically meant for both type of storage. There are two type of storage in any database. Earlier it used to be, when there was no HANA DB or HANA type of database is used, it is only row store. So your row store is basically nothing but your this table. If you consider this is as a table, this table, if you see, there is a record called country US, product alpha, and sales 3.0. So how it is used to in a continuous row, it is used to get stored. But in the columnar stored, what happens, like you are basically a tuple, like a tuple wise or column wise, you are storing the data. So as a result of, if you wanted to write a query, say for example, I wanted to see show me the sales volume where country is US. So it just picks the, rather than it going through this 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6 memory location, it goes to directly this location, brings its related location information, and then this information, rather than going through each of these separately to understand entire database traversing. It just traverses to only one location. That's how it is. First, it is an inherent property of HANA DB. It is a column store capability. It increases the performance, search algorithms, and all those things, which we are not going to see in our day-to-day life. We'll just in our HANA DB, like we'll just make sure that the table is column store. Automatically, it will take care of it. But in the background of the process, this is how it runs. But having said that, row store is also available in HANA DB. Row store is sometimes required as well, where your specifically in areas like where you are doing some security and things like that might be required. But column stored tables are most widely used in case of your HANA DB. So that's how the difference between column stored and so it is a tuple wise, like it is a column wise storage into the memory rather than a row wise storage into the memory. So if you see, this is row wise and this is column store.
I know most column store, when you want to do reporting, the best way to store is columnar storage.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
If you have it in mind that you will do reporting one day, you do analysis one day on that table, just store it as a column storage.
Correct. By default, most whatever table you create, if you are creating any tables by default, then also those are column store tab by default.
Okay. So yeah, I don't really want us to like dwell a lot on this part of it. Yeah, so we can just move on a little bit faster.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Because these are things that I already know and I can read, and my main purpose is working on
the tool.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
So I just keep some of the slides. So this is what I hope you are aware. So on the core database management, and there are different applications that can run. That's why it is HANA is called a next generation application and an appliance. Okay, so nothing else. What are the capacity this HANA has, like greater flexibility, so single source of truth and all those things. I'm not, as you said that you were already aware of all these things, I'm not getting into those in details. Cost wise, one thing just I wanted to know, because you are at a very higher level, you will be taking more decisions in making your organization choose the right tool. Cost wise, HANA is very important. Like it is higher cost. The deployment cost for the HANA is very high, but over the time the return of investment is very high as well. So over the time it will give you a good return of investment. It's not immediately, like whoever organization is producing the HANA type of things, they are not immediately getting the result, but over the down the line, when they starts using the HANA for longer period of time, say for example 2 years or 3 years, they are seeing the return of investment. Okay. And with that, scalability is also possible. You can always add extra node to the server and capacity and all those things always. Okay. Disruption is minimalistic, because it is mostly like when you are using HANA DB for reporting purposes, you can always use the sidecar, so your original transaction processing doesn't get affected. And if you follow the strategic planning or the SAP guides, then your upgradation and the migration is also not a big problem, given the SAP HANA guide is followed thoroughly. Then the scalability wise, you can always scale up. As I said, you can add capacity to your HANA DB. You can add memory, you can add things like that. And that is that sizing pieces can be like what we call in SAP world is called sizing. Like based on your requirement, you have to the basis team do the sizing, like understand that what is my hardware component requirements. So those can always be increased based on what you are going to use. Okay, so these are the things. I'm not going into thing. Only thing I wanted to touch here is the HANA spatial and graph. So in HANA DB also, when we go for HANA modeling and everything, we are capable of doing graphical graph and spatial pieces, that is possible. Like spatial means the geographical maps and all those things, and graph is something called a higher level techniques of algorithms that we can do that. Along with that, we can also do PAL, predictive analytics library is there, which can help you to generate a lot of PAL pieces in the HANA as well.
Yes, that's important.
Yeah. External key servers. So there are HANA provides a comprehensive encryptions, including secure encryption and all those things. Backups and all can be done through improved. So backup and recovery is there. We will go to the HANA architecture in a bit. I'll just cover that architecture from the other slide quickly. I'll just bring that up so that you understand. Yeah, if you see this architecture diagram, you will understand. So there are many components on the HANA architecture. Like each of these has its own own pieces to work. The most important is like this calculation engine. So this is basically does everything, like the index server. Index server is the main part, and index servers has different components. The heart of the HANA architecture. So if you see this index server is basically having a persistence layer, a data engines, and SQL script where the calculation engine, it is called calculation engine, which can talk to the repository like in the persistent layer. And then it has the SQL and MDX processor, and then the session and transaction manager. So what it does, names and at the below you have name server and preprocessor server. What the name server does, name server is responsible for keeping all the namings into the system. Say for example, what is my system repository, and maintaining all those naming, right? How does it goes, like it keeps it's a dictionary where it keeps all the naming pieces of the HANA. Whereas preprocessor server helps in pre-processing some of the information already that you require. So suppose you are running a very high level calculations and things like that, or if your server needs has a lot of load on that, then preprocessor server becomes active to make some of the calculation and processing already before it goes to the index server. And index server, you have a persistent layer where you have the data stores, and data gets stored for a persistent for the transaction log and all those things. But calculation engines is the main factor which does the day-to-day calculations, everything that is there in HANA. Now when out of the calculation engine, like you will be talking to your you need a parser, like a compiler kind of thing. Like whenever we talk in a different language, this is on all machine language, but this is something your SQL, right? So SQL to machine language compiler kind of things are required, which is the MDX processor, SQL processor is basically responsible for compiling those SQL codes into the lower level codes and things like that. And then you have a session and transaction manager, which basically talks about where exactly, like which other system is connected out of HANA DB, and how the transaction takes place. commit, like anything that you are committing on the database, that it takes care, when the transaction to be released and things like that. And then on the upper layer you have the client library, which is basically again the through a web server or HTTP portal you go to the UI. So this is overall the HANA architecture. These entire component we will not be able to see it separately when we go for the practical scenarios, but behind the scene, this is what is in active state, you know. Okay, so each of these component here being called out. So this sometimes this calculation engine is also called as access engine or access server. Okay?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah. So this is what from the architecture perspective. I'll quickly go to the tool. I'll come back to some of the slides in the next class probably again, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of the tool from the very starting. So if you see the tool, this is called HANA Studio. Instead of using the HANA Studio, you can also use the Eclipse, and there are Eclipse which are used also for running the HANA Studio, these components. Now, if you see, like if you come to a HANA Studio, yeah, I'll just close this. If you open this HANA Studio, you know, here. So it looks like it will be looking like this. Okay. And what you can go, you can come here and add a system, and you can give the details, and then it will get the system added. Right. Right now the system is already added for me. I will just open it right now. So right now you give the ID password, it is system. So now when you do
okay,
it,
so one question. So when you go through, because I've never logged into the HANA system using the HTTP. So when you log in, it's the same that you have. Which version of HANA is this?
Okay, this is HANA 2.0, but
what
there is
support pack?
I have to check that. I'm not sure like what support pack they are running. I'll have to check that. I do not know, but HANA 2.0 for sure. Support pack I need to check. I'm not sure, but there are two things I just wanted to mention. HANA could be, as of today, what SAP is doing is very important to know as well. What SAP is doing, SAP has a XS Classic version and SAP has a XS Advanced version. What is Classic version? Classic version is nothing but where you will be doing everything here. Okay. And it is the approach to development for XS Classic is different. Approach to XS A is different. XS A is more GitHub based, or it's kind of like container unit. You have to have containers, you have to have HDB setup and all those things that is going to be taken care. But here it is more on the repository approach. Okay, so this is.
So are we going to touch the XSA?
No, I'm going to talk most on the XSC. XSA is still maturing. I don't think like infrastructure wise this is XSA is there for this training. I have the XSC, what SAP is saying, but I have my own doubts. Down the line, 5 years, 2026 or 27, they are going to deprecate the XSC version. They are going to open up the XSA, but there are a lot of challenge. I think I can share with you some of the insight between XSA and XSA. I'll give you a comparative understanding.
Please.
So yeah,
that would be good.
Yeah, I will be definitely bring that up. The challenge is with XSA, the approach of development is very different compared to XSC. XSC is like if you grant permission like at the sysbic level, then you can do like a user can do anything. But in XSA there are something called concepts like synonyms, concept like HDB container, contents like granting separate security permission, deployment to the cloud, and all those things are coming into picture. which is yet not matured. And I know some of the project, some of the client from my side who are trying to access it, and they are really struggling as of today. But that is what SAP is trying to sell, that piece very much, very convincingly. They are trying to, like, conveniently they are trying to say access is the next generation, why don't you go there, and things like that. But I think that will take some more time to mature, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
But
where it is.
I've never logged in using the HTTP. I've logged in using SAP HANA Studio. So you see, if you log in using HTTP, you still have the same, but the difference is just XSC and XSA.
Yes, no, this, whenever you are having XSC, you can also log into HTTP client, provided that your basis has configured that. I mean to say,
okay,
even if you're running on XSC, you can still go to there. But I think from the perspective of XSC, if you're doing in XSC, it is better to run here rather than on the other side of the, because that is again like this is your this is your repository where you are connecting. That has another latency from the perspective of you are going to do it in the web, you know.
yes.
So that's the thing. But crux of the thing is that look and feel wise it is same. I do not have this for this system. I do not have the pieces here, but I can show you some of the screenshots how it looks like there as well. But that is very but absolutely similar in case of XSC. In XSA it is little different architecture, little different things. But that is yet not matured. I would say the development strategies are not yet matured. There are some clients are already developing it, but they are still struggling as of today. Okay. On if you see on the screen here, you have something called on the right side a quick view. One thing that I wanted to show, if you wanted to add many times we need to add new tools. So if I go to install new softwares from the help, and then there are based on the version of the HANA client, HANA Studio, you can use some of the link that SAP provides to download additional softwares. So for example, if I go to this one, I think it will talk to the repository, and it will give you some extra software to be downloaded. So for the first time setup, when you are going to do either on Eclipse or HANA DB, may not be the HANA modeling perspective is available. This is the perspective. So here there are many perspectives are there. I will show you. So you can see there are many perspectives. Say for example, ABAP BW modeling, and the Java and HANA modeler, HANA plan viz and all. So maybe the HANA modeling and HANA modeler plan perspective will not be available immediately. So what you need to do, you have to go to help, install new softwares, and use any of these links. SAP also provides some. If you Google it around, you will find it like Eclipse for SAP. If you Google around that, you will find some of the link here. Yeah, this is the link. This is exactly the link which will tell you like which link to use for which component of the Eclipse. Or these links can also be used for the HANA DB. HANA, if you are not using Eclipse, the HANA Studio as well. So if you click on this link, any of this link, some of the link is already pre-filled here because it was used earlier. And you can see that the list of tools comes in, and you choose whichever tools needs to be installed. And you can just say for example, if I need SAP HANA tools, if I go next, it will contact to the server and calculate the requirement and dependencies, whatever software component you have, and then it will start to install. So that way you can bring your HANA. So moment you go to a project, you might not immediately see this particular modeler perspective. Then you have to install it from there. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And the other thing that is there very important, like the perspective, right? As we said, like this particular tool works on the perspective. The moment I change this perspective to a different one, it will look like different functionalities will come in. I say, for example, if I go to a different perspective right now, say for example BW modeling, see you can see this, everything is gone.
Yeah.
So BW is a different sub piece. Similarly, if I go to a different perspective, say for example ABAP perspective, it will be different.
Yeah.
Okay. So it all works on the perspective to perspective, and everything has its own uses and things. What as part of HANA modeling, we'll be using HANA modeling perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of times, this is a day-to-day habit. A lot of times you can see in the middle, this is a pane where exactly all the design component comes. Left side, you'll have the like total total repository showing. Here in the somewhere it is properties, here is the job log and things like that. And a lot of time we accidentally close this, close this, and I don't know where it has gone, right? To bring that back, what we do, go to the perspective, and there is something called reset perspective. When you reset it, it will again come back on the original format.
Perfect.
So this is how it comes in. So these are the very small things to inform, but this is very effective, like
very important.
Yeah. Then the other thing that comes here is very important. On the left side, if you see for any HANA DB, you will always be seeing these 4 folder kind of thing. One is called catalog, one is called content, one is called provisioning, one is called security. So catalog is something like where exactly you will have all the DB level repositories like table, so you can see a lot of schemas and tables and everything within. Say for example, if I go to any of these schema, HANA SEC HANA SLT, you will see these are the different folders available inside that. So basically table, triggers, function, indexes, procedures. Yeah.
One thing they asked me in one interview was where are the runtime object? What is a runtime object and where are they stored?
Yeah. So every view that you are creating, right, there is a runtime object gets created. I think this is so whenever ultimately you are going to use some of the repository object. On top of that, you create the views, right? For every view, there is a runtime object comes in. I'll show it to you. Just a second. All the views reside in this content package. And in the content, there are packages. So these are packages. And inside the package, I think let me open up something from here. Okay, so if this inside the package, you basically create the calculation views, attribute views, analytical views. Okay, so if you open any of the calculation views, say for example, right, in the view properties, if you go here is the column view name. This is the runtime view. So it also create a sysbic entry. I'll tell you what is sysbic, sysbi, and all those things in a while. But this is the generated view name. This is the repository that is got generated out of this view. So if you go to sysbic in the repository here in the catalog, here is the sysbic, right? And if you go to views, sorry, if not here, column views probably, you will see a lot of, you can see that this bar has scored how many. So you will find those views here.
So we can say runtime on objects are stored in the catalog.
In the catalog, yes.
In the catalog in
sysbic schema.
Okay, sysbic schema. Okay, and what are they?
I'll tell you.
How can you define them?
Yeah. So whenever, so schema is something like is a database piece. I'll give you the formal definition of the schema, where all the repository object you store. So repository object could be your table, your procedures, your triggers, your views, the definitions of views. So and also the tables. Basically, the tables is very important. So whenever you come to whenever you are logging to the system, here you can see in this system there are so many schemas are being created. But whenever you first time create any system, there are some of the .sys repositories are by default, which is SAP is providing. Okay. So the most important one is sysbi, sysbig, sysrepo.
Okay.
And the other one that you are seeing here, sys, those are basically, if you add additional component to your HANA DB, then that will come. So for example, AFL will come when you are installing PAL.
PAL
Access
algorithm.
PAL algorithm and all those things. So and probably the sys security is also important from the security perspective. So these sys repositories has its own functionalities. I will discuss that in the next class in detail.
Okay.
What is the sys repositories, and the every component that you are seeing in the HANA DB, any component you are creating is going to be staying into the sysbig schema. Okay, and sysrepo is a higher level users which is there to be used. I'll cover those into the details in the next class. But overall basis, if you see there are 4 folders. One folder is catalog, which is basically creating your all the schema level informations, content, where you will be having packages, and here only you create the views using the catalog objects. And then something called provisioning. That provisioning is something nothing but when you create something called smart data access, SDI, and all those things that comes into the things which you are configuring through this HANA piece. But SLT necessarily will not be showing here. SLT is a different ball game. I'll come to that. Then come the security repository, where you will see all the users and roles. So all the users will be assigned a role, and roles are basically accumulation of permission and grants that a user should have. So if a user is assigned to a role X, if X has authorization to only display, then user 1 would be able to see only do the display. So he cannot edit.
So are we going to create them? We'll go to creating them, store procedures, functions, all those stuff. Not so.
Yes, let's see that we can try to do that. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is how it looks. It is going to be, and these are the 4 tabs. On the right hand side, you will see something very important: delivery units. And you can also navigate through these menus to come to the delivery units and all those things. All these menus are also available here as well in one of the component. Okay. So data provisioning, import, export, and all those things. Import, export, you can see also from the file, import, export. Okay. If you wanted to switch workspace, that is possible. Restart, all these things. If you wanted to open another window, right, you can you can do another window, and you can just use Alt tab to, if you wanted to compare. A lot of time we forget, like, okay, this is possible. A lot of developers doesn't know, like, we can toggle between windows by having 2 instances created for opened for the same HANA DB. Okay. You can open another window if you want, right? And then you can just, if you wanted to compare data from here to here, that can be done very easily. Okay. So these are small tips, but very helpful when you start working. One important thing here I wanted to mention: generate time data. Now, what is generate time data? Generate time data is something in the HANA DB. Like HANA DB, if you talk about native HANA, it also has to be in the sync of the time to which, if it is connecting to a S4 HANA system, for the same system, it has to be like sync, right? So suppose I'm communicating to you right now. I should be aware of what is the time you have, or the time you are in, right?
Yes.
Similarly, system to system, when it talks, there are exchange rate, there are times, there are things like those which we have, which needs to be synced up. For syncing those up, there are some repository object needs to be migrated from your source system to your target system, specifically the time tables like T009, T009B, those tables has to be generated. And when you click on the generate time data at the system level, which is HD2 here, it asks you to generate the time data. So now when you generate the time data, what happens is basically creates a table m_time_dimension into sysbig schema or sysbi schema, and fill that table with the time data at the lowest granularity of second. Okay, that is the lowest granularity possible, and you can specify the year. Okay, so it will tell like if it is already generated, I will be able to show it to you. Otherwise, I will show it to you in the next class. Yeah, here you can see m time dimension, right? So this m time dimension, this is the structure of the table, and if you wanted to see the data, you will be able to see the data here. See, you can see all the date with timestamp is being generated, all the things, and this time generated view will be used very fondly in your HANA calculation view modeling to trigger to the time component. Okay, so you can see here what are the column are there: date timestamp, date SQL, date SAP, different formats of date, date SAP, and then what is the year out of that, what is the quarter, okay, and what is the the date. If you see the date, it is the key, right? If you come here, date being the key field only, date timestamp, right? So this timestamp falls in which quarter, which month of that year, then what is the week, number of week, okay, then day of the week, okay, and then hour, what is the first hour, second hour, third hour, and 24th hour or something like that. Then it is say the cal quarter in a different format, which year concatenate with the quarter number, cal month, year concatenated with cal month. So in the different cal week, similarly year in integer, different format is being generated. So this table is very fondly used in managing your time data, you know, like time level modeling. When you are doing, then this table will be very much used. So it basically, when we go through the time generation, is basically does nothing but generate this table structure and generate all the data inside it. Okay, similarly, and this follows the Gregorian calendar, and similarly you can also generate fiscal. For fiscal to generate, that will come, I think this is not yet generated here. Let me see. Yeah, you can see these are blank. So for fiscal to generate, you know, we definitely have to have T009 and T009B table replicated in any of the schema. Okay, so any of the schema. So right now I don't think that in this system T009 and T009B table are there, so that's why it is coming blank. Otherwise that schema would have by default come here. Okay, so that's one of the thing to generate the fiscal. When you generate the fiscal, there is similar like this table, right? We'll get a table called m_fiscal calendar will be generated, and that will generate against each date their fiscal calendar. Okay, like here it is only the calendar got generated, there it will generate the fiscal. So suppose what is it, and what is the difference between fiscal and calendar? Suppose my calendar is something January to December.
Yes.
Okay, fiscal is something like, say for example, April to March, or every company follows.
Any company is different.
Different, yes.
Yeah.
So if there is, so when it is January, say 5th January, then what is the corresponding fiscal? Where is that information will get generated? This table doesn't tell that. This table doesn't. This table only talks about the calendar. So that fiscal table, what we are going to, what we can generate through this time data table, and go here and generate that fiscal table will keep that information. For a particular given date, what is my corresponding fiscal and fiscal informations. For generating those fiscal information, you need to have two tables by default. One is called T009 and another is called T009D, replicated from the source system of S4 HANA or ECC or anywhere. And those two tables will be, if that is available, then only we will be able to generate the fiscal data.
Yeah, because I had an interview with one company. They say they are moving from fiscal year to calendar year.
Okay.
So that that's a project that they have. Yes.
Yeah.
So everything had to be changed, and they needed someone who can really write complex SQL statements. You know. Yes. So I told them no. I'm not very good in SQL. So yeah. So that's how I didn't get the job.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, even because these are all graphical user interface, right? As of today, like if you see all we are doing to mouse click and things like that. SQL, knowing SQL is very good, but if you don't feel bad about it, you cannot know everything in such a large world.
Yeah,
it's not possible. It's not possible.
Yeah, so I told them I'm not the best candidate, you know. So
and SQL also has its own flavor, right? Right now SQL has OpenSQL, that then ABAP based SQL, native SQL. There are different flavor of SQL. So we need to really come to that. But minimalistic, what we need to know to run your day-to-day job, that is important. But if you wanted to go for a SQL project, that is a HANA consultant is not required for running a SQL project.
Yeah, that's what I told them.
Yeah. So I hope that the generate data piece is very clear, because it essentially generates, and if you see, right, additionally, apart from the M time dimension table, there are some more tables got generated as well.
So are we going to create a time? Are we going to create a calculation view that are time?
Yes. Okay. Yes. We'll show you. We'll show you.
Okay.
So I'll still show you.
I know about the generate time data. Yeah, I know about it.
I'll show you how to use those. So if you see how to use this in your calculation view. Also.
Exactly, that one I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah. So M time dimension month, M time dimension week, different tables got generated, and it is based on the granularity. So M time dimension is the sitting on top of all these, and then you have the different tables, and there some of the tables, like if you see week level table has been some of the table has not got generated. So but because of the granularity level, so month table is also generated here. It keeps the year level information and their month, if you see. So but mostly we'll use this table, this time dimension. This is what is the lowest granular table in the system.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. For example, okay, right now, can we do it when we meet them in the next class? Can I be asking like some interview questions or?
Yes, sure.
And how to?
You can also pose the questions here. Probably that will, if you are
yeah, I understand. I can post them, but for example, okay, let me just give you an example. For example, they send me a job description. Okay, so they asking me they say you will interface with stakeholders and apply technical proficiency across different stages of the software development lifecycle, including requirements, elicitation, Then they say application, architecture, definition, and design. You play an important role in creating high-level design artifacts.
Correct.
Yes. So things like that. That's how I want our discussion to flow, if possible.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Bring those questions up. Whichever I can answer on the spot, I will answer. Whichever I cannot, I'll take a note of those, and I'll get prepared myself for the right answer and pass it on to you.
Okay, perfect. Because my problem is right now, I just want to like go through an interview, be prepared, be confident, take the interview, pass the interview. I know when you're at the job, you're going to learn a lot,
Correct. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to be more focused on doing things like going through this interview scenarios and certain work scenarios like creating of procedures and function tables, using functions, things like that. So that so that is my main goal.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm with you. No worries. So
Okay,
I'll show it to you, and I'll try to answer as much question as possible. So one of the at your level, I think you will be more focusing on architecture. You will be more focusing on getting the requirement from business.
Exactly.
So I'll tell you like how to do that as well, and what are the different challenges we get. What to communicate with business users, and I'll cover those as well. No worries.
Okay. Then one other thing, like for example, my resume, I told them where I'm working now, I'm working like a support unit. So sometimes they ask you, oh, what are you doing? Okay, explain the day to day. I can't really explain, but I think you might know what a support unit does day to day.
Correct.
Yeah, and
they optimize the view. They support if there is any data wrong. They investigate what has gone wrong and things like that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I want you to give me a better insight of that, so we can, if we're starting the next class, those are the things that maybe we can start dealing on them.
Yes, absolutely. And definitely that how you will articulate those statements.
Exactly.
That is very important.
The terminologies to use.
Terminologies, yeah. Exactly. Articulate those statements. Yes. Exactly. That I'll tell you. No worries. So if you what exactly you wanted to say to the interviewer and things like that, and maybe the first thing that that is very important while you are talking about to the interviewer, like tell me something about yourself.
Exactly.
That's where you are going to crack half of the information that you are going to give to them, and keep it open-minded, like like maybe we can discuss about that in the next class. And
exactly, that is exactly what I really want.
Yeah. So where to start and where to end.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So I think this is what as of today, I think just to summarize what we have already covered today, we just talked about the reporting landscape in an organization that could be in SAP world. And we also talked about difference between operational reporting, management or analytics reporting, and what are the tools that supports, what are the cloud options that we are going to have in future, like data warehouse, cloud, and data intelligence from SAP. And we also talked about some of the facts of the architecture of HANA. You can take a look of the material and always come back to me for questions. We just touched upon the different functionalities of each component of the HANA pieces. And also we talked about in the HANA Studio, we talked about a very high level of how can you add a project, how can you install new softwares into the HANA pieces, and what is the way you can go to the different perspective, and how you can generate the time data, and where exactly the time data comes in.
Yes.
In the next class, the focus would be talking to you about sysbig, sysrepo, and all those things, those schemas. And most of the schemas we'll talk about. Then we'll talk about, say, for example, what is the information model, what are the different types of views and things like that they are possible. And we'll also talk about some of the questions that you might have, and also articulating your answers when the questions are being asked, how you can tell.
Exactly. That's exactly what I want.
Okay. I think that's what is that going to be the next piece. So I think we can end it today at this point, if you are okay.
No problem. I'm okay. Okay.
Okay. So we covered 1.5 hours. Next class,
Yes.
we'll be trying to cover 2 hours, so that we get up to the speed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.